Good morning, this is your Math Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this Algebra 1 STAAR Test 2023, and this will be problems 1 through, I believe, 12. Yes, problems 1 through 12. So the table represents some points on the graph of a linear function. Which function best represents this relationship? Well, we're going to approach this by Desmos, but I'm also going to use the calculator to supplement. You can do this on um, Desmos as well, but I'm going to use the calculator to help me out. So first off, Desmos, if I put this table in, they will give me an equation, but these have fractions, and Desmos is not very helpful with this type of fraction. So let's go ahead and turn these fractions into decimals and rewrite these equations. So we have 3 divided by 2, so that's 1.5. So I can rewrite this equation as y equals negative 1.5 x plus 4, because this is the way it's going to show up in Desmos. This is also 1.5, so y equals negative 1.5 x minus 14. Then I have a 2/3, so I need to divide that out. 2 divided by 3, that's 0.667. So y equals 0.667 x minus 9. The negative sign in front, and this is y equals negative 0.6667x minus 1. All right, at this point, I'm going to switch over to Desmos, and I'm going to put these into the Desmos. So here we go. Share, and I need to hit the plus button, and then I get the table, clicked on that, and I'm just going to put in the numbers, -4, it's going to take me a couple minutes, -4, 10, -2, 7, 6, and -5. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to hit the domino button, and it immediately gives me an equation. I click on it, and it happens to be y equals negative 1.5 x plus 4. That's the equation this gave me, and I'm going to go ahead and switch back. So Desmos gave me y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. That matches this right here. So our answer choice for the first one is A. Number 2, the water level in a tank is changing at a constant rate. When I see this word, I think slope. The graph shows the relationship between times in hours, x, and the water level in meters. I'm just going to go ahead and draw the angry man just because I don't think you can see it enough. And remember, negative slope, positive slope, vertical line is undefined slope. That's why the U, and it's an x equals. Horizontal line, this is slope of 0, and it is a y equals. This case, I have a negative slope because it's going down. So we know it's going down, so that means it's decreasing. Complete this the statement that describes the rate of change of the water level with respect to time. Move the correct answer to each box. Well, just looking at this, I know it's going down, so I know it decreases. Okay, the next thing, I need to figure out the slope. Well, it'd be nice to calculate that, and I can. I'm going to do this 2 ways. I'm going to do this by counting. So those of you who can count it out, that's great. So I'm going to find 2 places where it crosses the grid perfectly. Well, that's a good spot, and that's a good spot. So if I go down, that's down 1. And remember, slope is y over x. And so we went down 1. That's in the y direction because this is the y-axis. And then we counted over 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 over 4. So y equals 1/4. But we don't see that. And I'm going to use the calculator real quickly. 1 divided by 4. And we get 0.25. So y equals 1/4, which, m equals 1/4, which is 0.25. So that's my slope. So we figured it out that way. Alternatively, if you're not good at that, you can go to Desmos, and we have an X and a Y. This is 0, 9, and this is 4, 8. And I can plug this in and get my equation. Now it's going to give me my equation in y equals mx plus b, where this is my y-intercept, and this is my slope. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to plug in 0, 9, and 4, 8 into a table, into Desmos, and see how that works for us. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete this, delete that, hit the plus button, table, and we have 0, 9, and 4, 8. I hit the domino button, and there's my equation. Y equals negative 0.25. And I'll write this down. Y equals negative 2.25 x plus 9. So switching back to my paper, this is my slope. Now, the fact that it's negative means it's decreasing, and it's 0.25. And as for the rate, this is my slope. Okay. Moving on to number 3. The graph of a quadratic function is shown below. Which function best represents h? Lots of ways to approach it. I want to say this. This right here is the vertex. And in this case, the vertex is at -1, -4. And because it's the lowest point, this is a minimum. None of this was asked, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. So -3, 0, and 1, 0 are roots, x-intercepts, and sometimes referred to zeros, and sometimes even referred to as solutions. So that's what I have circled right there. This is the minimum because it's the lowest value. If they had asked the line of symmetry, that's what goes through the vertex and cuts it in half, is x equals -1. That's the line of symmetry. But they asked what's the best function. You know what? I should do a couple other things. While we're here, let's talk about the range. The range is the lowest y value to the highest. Remember, range is y. So -4 less than or equal to y less than infinity, because this is going up to positive infinity, because that's what the arrow means. Well, this goes away, and we flip it, and we have the range being -4 is greater than or equal to y. If we were doing the domain, we have an arrow going to the left, arrow going to the right. So this is -infinity less than x less than infinity, which is all real numbers. Okay. So what we have is that we want to know which function best represents. The best thing to do is just plug this into Desmos. This, by the way, right here could be crossed out and just be y equals. So we're going to plug these equations into Desmos and see which one has this vertex and these two roots. So let's go to the share. And the first one was x. I need to hit the little keyboard, get the squared plus 2x minus 3. And this very first one crosses at -3. It crosses at 1. And our vertex is at -1, -4. Looks like the first one is the correct one because these points all match up. Okay? I'm going to have them labeled just so you can see them. And lastly, here's our vertex. So if you notice, all those points match up with what we had on the graph. So that looks good. Just for fun, I'm going to plug in one other equation so that we can see that it's not right. So let's say I plugged in equation number 2, which is the same one as number 1, except the sign has changed. So I'm just going to copy it. It's like, oops, not the right one. So we can get rid of it. All right. If I do the next one, x squared plus 4x plus 3. Not the right one. So you can see that the very first one, A, was our best choice. So we're going to stop the share. We're going to mark A on our paper and move on. This next one, I don't consider this important. The one above it's super important. A rectangle has a length of 5 plus 2x inches and a width of 10. A triangle has a base of 30 inches and a height of 4x minus 10. The area in square inches of the rectangle is equal to the square inches of the triangle. What is the value of x? The reason I don't consider this that important is because we don't necessarily know these formulas. But a rectangle, the area for the rectangle is length times width. The area for the triangle is 1/2 base times height. Oops, that's supposed to be an H, not a B. That looks like, there we go. 1/2 base times height. So length times width has a length of 5 plus 2x and a width of 10 inches. So let's do that. We're going to write 5 plus 2x times 10. Now, the area for the triangle, oops, should have kept the blue. That's the area for the rectangle. The area for the triangle is 1/2, and I'm just going to put that in parentheses, and triangle a base of 30 times 4x minus 10. And I'm going to put everything in parentheses just because it makes it easier to work with. Well, they told us this area equals this area. So really, we have 5 plus 2x parentheses 10 equals 1/2 30 and then 4x minus 10. If you've gotten this far, if you've done this part, we've done the hard part. At this point, we're going to plug this into Desmos, but we're going to have to make a couple of changes. The x's will have to become n's, and this has to become the squiggle. So this is going to be 5 plus 2n parenthesis 10 squiggle 1/2. I guess I should have kept that in red, but oh well. And then 4n minus 10. So let's plug that in real quickly. Oh, maybe it's going to take me a while to get to Desmos. Okay, so here we are. So if I plugged in what I originally had parenthesis 5 plus 2x parenthesis 10 equals parenthesis 1 divided by 2 30 and then 4x minus 10. And it didn't do that. Oh yeah, I have to change this to a squiggle, so don't forget that. It still didn't do it because I need to change the x's to an n. And then all of a sudden it tells me n equals 5. So the answer choice to number 4 is n equals 5, and we'll find out where that lies on our paper. So I get n equals 5, and when I look at that, that's D. This one not as important as the others. Which expression is a factor of this? Okay, Scary problem, but super, super easy. When they're asking for factors, they want to know this, and we see that this is raised to second power. They want to know where the parabola is crossing the x-axis. So one of those will be the answer choice, whether the parabola is shaped like this, or it could be shaped like this, where it crosses the x-axis. So one of these will cross the x-axis at one of those points. So we're looking for the factors. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this into Desmos, and then we're going to plug in each answer choice in the Desmos and see what happens. Should be able to find our answer pretty easily. This is a problem you got to get right. So clearing this out, we have 30x squared minus 4x minus 16. So there's my graph. Now I need to find one that either hits here, and I'm going to go ahead and label that. Needs to hit here, or it's there. So it's got to hit either the blue spot or the green spot. So let's try the first one. So the first one is 5x plus 4. And it gets close, but it's not right. So it can't be the first one. So the next one is 3x minus 2. Get close, but doesn't hit where it's supposed to. Then I have 5x minus 4. Hey, that one hits exactly right. So we like 5x minus 4. I'm going to put a check mark. And just to make sure, we're going to do the 3x minus 4. Okay, 3x minus 4, not even close. So our best answer choice was, and I'll go back and put it up there so you can see it, was the 5x minus 4. And once again, it crosses exactly through one of those points. So we had a graph that looked like this one right here, it wasn't this, and we ended up with 5x minus 4 hitting right through that point. So our best answer choice to number 5 is C. Number 6. The table shows the number of species added to the United States endangered species list each year for several years. A linear function. Okay, I see linear and I'm going y equals mx plus b. That's what goes through my mind, where this is my slope and this is my y-intercept. Which correlation best describes the strength? Ooh. So we have a couple key words. I should have been underlining them, and I didn't. So keyword, linear. Correlation describes the strength of the linear relationship. So let's look at these. First off, we need to find out if it's positive or negative. But when they're asking for the correlation, they're asking for the R. Okay? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Desmos and I'm going to input this data, and we're going to get an R. And this is the value. This is the R. Correlation tells me R, which tells me I need to be looking at those. Okay? So here we go. Okay, once again, clear out the material. We're going to hit the plus button, ask for a table, and we're going to put in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and 7. Then we have 19, 51, 89, 66, 31, 14. Oh, not 14. That was a 74. Boy, that was messed up. 74. And the last one's 11. We're going to hit the domino button. And we notice we have an R. And our R, that's the correlation. That's what we're looking for, is this R right here. And that correlation is negative 0.09448. So R equals negative 0.0948. 4, 8. Well, that kind of tells me my answer. So let's look at our answer choices. First off, it's negative. Okay. So it's negative and it's 0.09. Well, that means we're getting rid of this one and we're getting rid of this. Now the question is it weak or strong? Anything less than 0.5, less than 0.5 equals weak. Greater than 0.5, we'll say is strong. Okay, so this is weak because it's a small, that's getting close to 0. If you're close to 0, it's weak. Close to 1, close to positive or negative 1, strong. Close to 0, weak. So this is a weak. All right. Number 7, a part of a linear function shown on a grid. What is the range? Okay, so first off, the range. That's probably the biggest key word. Y. All right. So we're looking for our Y value. So I need to be drawing to the axis. Now keep in mind, if you have this symbol, you're going to get this. If you have this symbol, you'll get that. And we know we'll have Y in the middle. So we're going to start off with our values. So we know we're going to have, because we drew to the Y-axis, we know we're going to have -4, we know we're going to have Y, and we know we're going to have a 2, because this is the low, because we always start at the low and go to the high, or bottom to the top. Now this is a hollow. Hollow gets that symbol, and solid gets this one. So the range is a set of all real numbers. Once again, there's the range. Greater than or equal to 4. Nope, not greater than or equal to. Greater than -4. And less than or equal to, yep. So Y is greater than or equal to -4. Y is less than or equal to -2. There we go. Again, you read it this way. Y is greater than -4 and Y is less than or equal to 2. I know it seems weird starting in the middle, but Y is less than or Y is greater than or equal to -4 and Y is less than or equal to -2. All right, moving on. Number 8. Which statement is true? Okay, first off, we have some we're going to use some Desmos here, but once again, Desmos and fractions, it turns them into decimals, and so you need to turn these values into decimals. So let's do that. 3 divided by 4, 0.75. So 0.75, excuse me, 3/4 equals 0.75. We need to know that. And then we have 3 halves, 3 divided by 2. So 3 halves equals 1.5, and 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. And we have 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. And we have, oh, and this is a 4.5, and it's a plus or minus, which means in plus or minus 9.5 is 4.5 negative and 4.5 positive. And then we have 9 divided by 2. Okay? And that is a positive 4.5. Now, we need to talk about this. Zeros are where it touches the x-axis. So it can touch it like this, or it might touch it, in this case, once. If it's once, it'll be this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in this initial equation, then we're going to plug in each one of these to see which gives us the same one. The one that gives us the same one is our answer. So here we go. share that screen. And we have 4x squared minus 36x. And all I'm doing is plugging in the initial equation. All right. Well, when I look at this, I'm only touching it one time. The fact that I'm only touching it one time tells me it's going to be the last one. But I still want to show you how this works. So our first answer choice, because I'm going to plug it in, is 4x minus 3. And followed by x minus 27. And when I look at those graphs, they're definitely not the same equation. So it can't be the second one, because if I did it right, the second equation should lie directly on top of the original. So it's not that one. So we'll try this next one. And now we have parentheses 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 27. Once again, that blue graph does not lie directly on the red one, so it can't be correct. So then I try the next one. 2x minus 9 and 2x plus 9. Still doesn't lie directly on it, so it can't be that one. So then we're going to go to this last one, which was 2x minus 9 squared. And guess what? The blue one made the red one disappear because they're lying directly on top. So the 2x minus 9 squared is the correct one. So the correct one here is answer choice D, because it gives us a graph like that, which matched the one up here. Number 9, what is the equation of the asymptote of the function y equals 16 negative 0.75 to the x? So really this is written as y equals a times b to the x. This is my start. B greater than 1 is growth, which means it goes up. B less than 1 is decay, which means the graph will go down. So in this case, our y-intercept, start/y-intercept, our y-intercept is 16, and we have decay, but what they ask is for the asymptote. Well, when we do this, the asymptote is which line does it not cross. So for our class, for Algebra 1, it will always be x equal. Every asymptote that we deal with will be an x equal. But I don't know what it's going to be. Actually, I do, because it's almost always going to be x equals 0. But the way to check it out is to go to Desmos and plug this in. So let's do that. And we have 16 parentheses 0.75 raised to the x. To do that, you have to use the AB button, and then you type in an x. Well, guess what? It looks like it hits 0, but let's check to see if it really does. When I zoom in, every time I zoom in, it's like, gosh, it's getting close, but it doesn't. So our asymptote, and it's kind of what I told you before, will always be, for this class, x equals 0 if we're working with one of these. Okay, I wasn't able to put this in, type this in as well as I would have liked. What this should have looked like is x raised to the, x to the 3/7 squared. Well, we're multiplying. When we have a power raised to a power, exponent raised to an exponent, we multiply. So in this case, we're going 3/7 times 2. Well, if you don't remember for sure, turn that into a fraction, and then we have 3/7 times 2 over 1. So I can use the calculator to do this. Parenthesis 3 divided by 7, parenthesis 2. And I can put 2 divided by 1 or just 2. And I get this ugly decimal, which doesn't help me out with the answer choices. But if I turn it into a fraction, which decimals will do for us, it'll give us 6/7. So all I did was multiply, and so my answer choice is C, 6/7. 3 times 2 is 6, 7 times 1 is 7. 11. What statement is true? So we have domain and we have range, okay? Now they did something weird here. Into the x, in parenthesis x, is just another way of saying y. So they're saying domain x is greater than 2. This is going to be y is greater than -8. They used it again. So into the x is y. Y is less than or equal to 12. So let's plug this equation in to Desmos and see what our graph looks like. Okay? So plugging it into Desmos, we go 5x, use the square button, minus 20x, and then plus 12. And I don't see my graph, which means I need to zoom out. Keep zooming out. Oh, there it is. I'm going to slide this over and we're going to take a look at it. You know what? It gets wider and wider and wider. So it looks like to me the domain for this graph, because I have arrows on it, is all real numbers. So that's the domain. Well, that's going to get rid of a couple answers, okay? On the range, looks like the range goes to infinity, but the bottom is at 2, -8. So 2, -8. Well, range is the y. So -8 is less than or equal to y is less than infinity. And I'm going to stop right there so we can look see what we have written down. So this point right here, that point right there is -2, 8. But the domain, it keeps getting wider and wider. So the domain's all real numbers. So guess what? Domain's not an answer choice. The range is greater than or equal to -8. Well, we said -8 is less than y is less than infinity. Well, we don't write this part. We take this and we flip it. And so y is greater than -8. Well, guess what? That's B. All right, number 12. A customer is ordering hats and t-shirts from an online store. Each hat costs $7 and each t-shirt costs $10. The customer receives free shipping if the amount of the order is over $100. Okay? So let's mark some stuff down because we got a bunch of information there. It needs to organize it. So hat is $7. T-shirts, $10. And free shipping is over $100. Great. Write an inequality, so that's an important word, that represents all the possible combinations. By the way, inequality means we're not going to use an equal sign. It represents all possible combination of hats, which are supposed to be X, and Y, which are supposed to be t-shirts. Okay? So how does that kind of work out? Well, if I look at that, X is hats. Well, what are hats? Hats were $7. Then it says t-shirts. Well, t-shirts were $10. Okay. Then we need our symbol. Well, is it a less than or greater than? We know it's not an equal because they said it was inequality. It says over. Over means it's going to be a greater than. And then we have the $100. All right. So there's our equation. 7x plus 10y is greater than 100. You could think of it this way. $7 worth of hats plus $10 worth of t-shirts is more than $100. And this was X and this is Y. Okay, appreciate you watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.